So we are rushing headlong into 2022, and who the heck knows what that's got lined up for us. But it is that time of year when many YouTubers give us their favourite pieces of equipment and gear over the past 12 months. Now, I have bought a little bit of hardware this year. I have spent far too much on software. It is so easy to do, isn't it? But what I thought I would do in this video is give you my top 3 sounds that I have been drawn to and which I have been using in my music, or which has just simply inspired me. That is the purpose for me of a sound, if it inspires you and helps you write and create and compose music. Now, these aren't my favourite presets, they are types of sound which you will understand when I get into it. And if you are looking for sounds for inspiration, then I have a link to an absolutely superb site with hundreds of free sample packs called Piano Book. You have probably heard of it. If not, the link is in the description. It is the brainchild, if you like, of Christian Hansen, who was one of the co-founders of Spitfire Audio. He's another one of my favourite YouTubers. If you don't already follow him, then give his channel a look. So there are literally hundreds of free sample-based instruments of all sorts in Piano Book. Well worth a look. So what I'm going to do here is to give you my top 3 sounds or types of sound with examples that I've used in pieces of music. And I am also going to don my amateur psychology hat and attempt to work out why I find these sounds so interesting and inspiring. Now, as I've said in other videos, one of my favourite compositional techniques is simply to find a sound which I like, play some notes and see if it suggests something to me. It might suggest a melodic line or a chord sequence or a rhythmic pattern, but that's how I come up with a lot of the ideas for my pieces. So I've no idea if these sorts of sounds will speak to you in the same way that they speak to me, but I'd be really interested to know if you have any particular sounds or type of sounds which have the same effect on you as these sounds have on me. So let's get started with number 3, which I have called vibey metallic percussive things, for want of a better term, and I'm sure there must be better terms than that. But by this I mean things like kalimbas, vibraphones, glockenspiels, metallic sounds. One of my favourites here is music box sounds, and there is an excellent music box instrument on Piano Book. Now, I'm just going to play some very short extracts from compositions so you can hear these sounds in context. If you want to check out any in particular, then a link to them all will be in the description. So in the first example, I have used this vibey metallic percussive thing to create a little accompaniment pattern or little fill in this piece. And the next piece actually starts with a gong. It's sort of a muted bell sound, which to me suggests nighttime and darkness, although hopefully in a relaxing and calming way, as it is from a Nocturne. I have also experimented extensively with kalimba type sounds and the music box, which I mentioned, although I haven't actually put these into any music as of yet. So, amateur psychology hat on, why do I like these sounds so much? Well, I'm not absolutely sure, but I think it may have something to do with childhood. Doesn't everything psychological have something to do with childhood? I do remember having a music box mechanism, you know, the little drum with the spikes on and the tines. I can't remember what it was out of. So perhaps that was it, or perhaps I just like the sound. There can be something creepy about music boxes. You might expect it to suggest ideas of childhood, but if it plays something a little bit creepy, if it goes out of pitch a little bit, then your expectations are subverted, which I think is very nice. And things like the Celeste and vibes are often sprinkled on the top of a fantasy movie soundtrack, and I really like fantasy and science fiction movies, so that might also have something to do with it. Okay, let's move on to number 2, and in second place is the piano. Now, I suspect I am not alone in being a musician who absolutely loves the sound of the piano. It was my first major keyboard instrument. Now, I just play electronic and sampled pianos, but I think there's something about the piano sound which is probably eternal in the realms of music. And if I had to pick a desert island instrument, it wouldn't be an electronic piano, it wouldn't be a synthesizer with fantastic built-in sample pianos, it would be an actual acoustic piano. I suspect many musicians and composers might feel the same way. Now, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of different types of pianos, all with their own character, and sometimes when you sit down and play a sample piano or even an electronic piano, you just get a certain vibe from it and suggests particular lines, melodic lines, chord sequences, and so on. And I have used pianos extensively in a lot of my pieces, as a lot of my music is sort of laid back or ambient or chill or slow tempo, but not all of it, but a lot of it. I do tend to look for intimate pianos, what we might call emotional pianos, or perhaps a felt piano, soft piano. There are dozens of pianos, as you might expect, in Piano Book if you want to check them out and download some. So in this piece, we've already heard a little extract from it. The piano plays out a series of resonant chords. It forms the backbone of the piece, really. And here is another Nocturne in which the piano, one of my favourite pianos, it is the Grandeur from Native Instruments Complete Control System, and there's a preset on that called Deep Grandeur. I've tweaked it a little bit, and this is one of my favourite deep, soft, emotional pianos. And in this piece, the piano plays out a series of extended chords, and again this forms the body of the piece. This next piece uses a piano which is included with Native Instruments Cuba extension, and in this example it plays one of the main melodies. And then it plays a backing accompaniment. So if I ever want to sit down and just doodle and see if anything comes up, then it is invariably a piano sound that I will go for to do this. So, amateur psychologist, why do I love the sound of the piano? It is just an amazing sound. All those strings is vibrating in sympathy with each other. It just creates an absolutely beautiful, wonderful, interesting and inspiring sound. It may have something to do with the fact that the piano was my first major instrument, but I actually do recall as a child listening to Radio 3, I think it was, and listening to a piece of classical music, and I can't remember what it was, but it was a piano piece, and I was listening to this. I was probably about 14, 15 at the time, and thought I would really like to be able to make music like that. So do you like the piano? What's your favourite piano instrument? And why do you like it? So, what is in number 1 position, my favourite type of sound? Well, if you have been watching and listening to the electronic pieces of music which I've been producing on this channel, this will come as no surprise. Otherwise, quite possibly, it might do. But it is a category of sound that I call non-lyric vocal sounds. Now, the human voice is arguably the most expressive instrument in the world. It can create probably a greater range of sounds than any other natural instrument. Now, I have to make a confession. When I listen to a piece of music, whether it's pop music, rock music, modern music if you like, I pay far more attention to the tune than to the lyrics. I do like lyrics, and there are a number of artists whose lyrics I really do like and really appreciate. We're not going to go into that now. But the human voice can be used in many, many ways other than just singing lyrics. And that is the sort of sound, or the types of sound, which really appeal to me and which I find interesting and inspiring. Now, I'm going back to my 1980 studio with this first example, and it was created with the Roland 100M system, which is not ideal for creating vocal sounds, but I did manage to produce a sort of ooh sound, which you can hear in this extract. So I think my love of non-lyric vocal sounds goes way back. Now, it's not that I don't like listening to songs, it's just I tend to pay more attention to the tune rather than the lyrics in most cases. However, I do like choirs and chants and sounds of that nature, and this piece is full of them. Now here's another example in a piece which we've already heard, and here I am using a sort of R sound. Now I really like this next example. It is vocal speech, but it is fairly indistinct. You can sort of tell what it is, you can tell the words, you can tell someone's speaking, but you can't really make out what they're hearing, and I think this sort of thing is very atmospheric. Of course, we can just use plain old spoken words and drop them into a piece of music. I think that can also be very effective, depending of course on what the words are saying, but here is an example of that.
There is nowhere to hide.
Now here's another example, not exactly spoken words, but a sort of outburst, if you like. I couldn't make this video without including this extract. Maybe you like that or not. Here's another extract from a piece we've already heard which uses vocal shouts. I just dropped these into the piece at very precise points, and I think this actually helps make the track.
Alright.
Now, chants are one of my favourite vocal sounds. They can be used to create a wide range of emotional effects, from quiet and peaceful to dark and perhaps slightly disturbing. Now, this next piece includes vocal chants, but also sprinkled throughout are these little sort of whispers, which I think sound vaguely human and vaguely creepy. And I'm going to finish this example with a piece which is composed almost entirely of non-lyric vocal sounds. There are utterances and strange chants, I think, and strange sounds which the vocals make. I'll just chop this up a little bit so you can hear a couple of the different sounds which I've used throughout this piece. Now, I have to say that is actually one of my most favourite compositions of the year. So, with my amateur psychology hat on, I wonder why I am so drawn to this type of sound. Well, it could possibly be because I can't sing. Now, I have friends who said, rubbish, everyone can sing, and they have even offered to teach me to sing. And believe me, I would absolutely love to be able to sing, but I don't think I would ever even be able to carry a tune well enough to sing in a choir. So for me, it's just a question of can't sing, don't sing, won't sing, I'm afraid. So perhaps it is my inability to express myself vocally in a singing or lyrical way which has attracted me to non-lyric vocal sounds. That's the best reason I can come up with, other than the fact that I think these type of sounds are absolutely wonderful and they do spur me to composition. So there you go, that is my top 3 types of sound which I have been drawn to in the past year. What, may I ask, are your favourite sounds? Are there any particular sounds which you hear and get inspired to sit down and compose a piece of music with? If there are, or indeed if you have any comments on any of my sounds here, I would really love to hear from you. And if you found this video useful, helpful, entertaining perhaps, possibly even a little inspirational, if you would like to see more videos like this, then please do consider subscribing to the channel, ring the bell, so you get informed of new videos as soon as I release them. And of course, the big thumb is much appreciated. So that's it from me for 2021. I can only thank you very much indeed for watching this video, for watching my other videos, if in fact you have watched any of my other videos, and for spending time with me, and for that I thank you very, very much indeed. I will wish you the very best for 2022 and hope it is a very musically creative year for you all. I will see you all again next year.